Hello, today we are learning about Chapter 5, Lesson 6. Yesterday we focused on building and adding decimals. Today we are just going to be adding decimals by lining them up. So we're taking away the building portion and using our knowledge that we already know how to add adding numbers up and down, but most importantly, we are going to be learning today to line up the decimals. So let's look at our first example. Mrs. Bliley will talk a little bit more about that. It says, example 1, Mr. Jacobson used a digital scale to measure 44.2 tenths of a milligrams of sodium for a chemistry experiment. During the second experiment, he used 33.1 milligrams of sodium. What is the total amount of sodium used? Okay, so we're going to look at our important information. We have 44.2 tenths and 33.1 tenths of sodium used. We need to figure out how much do they equal together. So we are going to add. We are going to estimate 44. So first they estimated to the nearest 1. 44.2 is closer to 44, and 33.1 is close to 33. If we add 3 plus 4, we get 7 twice because 44 and 33 gives me 77. So we need to line up our decimals. So important. So when we add decimals together, we always have to line up the decimals. So the decimals need to be in the same line as you would line up your numbers in your ones, tens, and hundreds. If you are missing numbers, if you have like a decimal and we fill them in with zeros like we've done in the past, okay? When we come to an example like that, I will show you. Right now, we're just focusing on lining up the ones or the tenths or the hundreds. In this case, we have tenths, decimal, ones, tens. Okay, so always remember, line up the decimals. So, and then we are able to add. We're going to add 3 plus 1 gives me, 2 plus 1 gives me 3. We bring our decimal straight down. 4 plus 3 gives me 7, and 4 plus 3 again gives me 7. Now we can look at these. 77.3 is very similar or very close to 77. So the total amount of sodium used is how many milligrams? 77.3. Compared to the estimate, we estimated 77. That is very similar. We added sorry, Miss Flip is in the wrong spot. Okay, so 77.3, please bear with Mrs. Bliley, is very similar to 77, 3/10 away, is equal to or similar or estimated closely to 77. Okay, sorry, Mrs. Bliley is making quite a few mistakes, but we can learn from them, we can grow from them. Let's look at example 2. It says find 19.6 plus 4.31. So first we're going to estimate, is 19.6 closer to 19 or 20? It's closer to 20. 4.31 is closer to 4 or 5. It's going to be closer to 4. So we're just going to do simple math and I have 20 plus 4 more gives me 24. And then again, we are going to line up those decimals. So here is what I was talking about a little bit earlier in the lesson. So we're going to line up those decimals. If you notice, 4 decimal 31 hundredths has more numbers on the right side. Okay, so we're going to look at that. First, we're going to line up the decimals. So we have 19 decimal 6 tenths and 4 decimal 31 hundredths. Right here, if you line up the decimals and you have missing numbers like we would here, we add a 0. That is important to make sure that they all line up. So you need to make sure that your decimals line up, and if you are missing a number, you add a 0 in that place. So we have 0 plus 1 gives me 1. 6 plus 3 gives me 9. 9 plus 4 gives me 13. Carry my 1. 1 plus 1 gives me 2. So we have come to the conclusion, we have found that 19 decimal 6 tenths plus 4 decimal 31 hundredths equals 23 decimal 91 hundredths. Our estimate was 24. .23 decimal 91 hundredths is very close to or reasonable to our answer or our guesstimation 24. Mrs. Wiley is going to do a few more practice with you, and then I would like you to complete problems 3 through 8 in your independent practice for your classwork today. So let's do these really quickly. 2 plus 6 gives me 8. Everyone see how my decimals are lined up. 3 plus 4 is 7. Decimal, they bring the decimal down. If they don't bring it down for you, you have to make sure that you do it. 6 plus 1 is 7. Estimate, 6 plus 1 gives me 7. So we know the answer is 7 decimal 78 hundredths. Seven is checking for reasonableness. Yes, they are very similar. We are okay to move on with our next problem. All right, let's look at number 2. We have a 9 and a 3, gives me 12. Carry my 1. 8 plus 0 is 8, plus 1 more is 9. Bring down my decimal. 0 plus 0 is 0. Estimate. 1 plus 0 is 1. We know that 89 hundredths plus 3 hundredths gives me 92 hundredths. Is 1 similar to 92 hundredths? Yes, it is 8 hundredths away. We are okay to move on to the next problem. Okay, so for your practice work today, I would like you to do, just like I said prior, independent practice numbers 3 through 8. Turn those in for me and have a wonderful, great day.